coming in. I know that there's currently a 3-on-3 basketball game. Hey, you chose to come in here and spend your time with us during this wonderful session with these outstanding authors. So let's get started. So firstly, I want to share that this is our inaugural author panel, and this wonderful lineup that they tell you all about, they were gracious to spend their time with us today, so we want to jump right into that. So firstly, a little bit about myself. I'm the chair of the Keese Initiative. I am a member of the board. We had the wonderful Terrence Hassan to walk in just a second ago, right on time, and the First Lady. Look at her, she's trying to duck right there around the corner. There she is. And in addition to that, I'm a trustee for the Pendleton Elks. I'm on the Green Crescent Trail, and I'm an instructor at Tri-County Technical College. All right. So in just a moment, we will hear from a fantastic individual. Her name is Justice Elliott. In honor of Autism Awareness Month, she is going to share with us. She's going to share an essay with us. And she is from T.L. Hanna High School. And so she's going to talk about a very personal journey of hers and her essay. So if you will welcome Justice.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. Hi there, my name is Justice Noel Elliott, and in 2014, at the age of 4 years old, I was diagnosed with autism. A diagnosis that has fundamentally shaped how I experience the world. For me, having autism makes reality much more abstract, sound is more exemplified, and my surroundings feel much more profound. Socializing is perceived as a chore. I experience sensory issues with certain specific clothing textures and delayed social cues. Navigating autism can sometimes be a challenge, but it's better to embrace that side of me. Having autism definitely makes my perspective different, but it does not make me or anyone else on the spectrum any less human. While there are varying levels and unique cases of autism, each and every one on the spectrum deserves to be treated with essential human dignity. When I share my diagnosis with my acquaintances, they often suggest that I have been misdiagnosed or simply refuse to believe me. I'm constantly met with a wall of misconceptions. Whether it's someone telling me I don't look the part because I'm not put in a special education classroom. The ignorance is stifling. Those comments did not come to a surprise, but their comments just reveal what little information others actually understand about the autism community. While I have developed the resilience to remain unbothered by those ignorant comments, I realize that those prejudices can thoroughly win others a part of the autism community. Rather than passing judgment based on assumptions, take the initiative to learn and understand the facts. My mother was a testament to this. She was never ignorant. She understood that empathy started with education. After my diagnosis, my mother immediately dedicated herself to understanding my role. My mother spent countless hours reading books about autism, seeking the best ways to provide the support I needed to navigate life's challenges. One of those hurdles was a significant speech to make. From elementary up to 6th grade, I was put into speech therapy. During those earlier years, when others struggled to understand me, my mother acted as my translator. She raised me with a perfect balance of care. She understood my needs without ever limiting my potential. There were emotional moments where we cried together, but she remained my close anchor. My father was also supportive, ensuring that while autism was a part of me, it did not define my entire identity. Today, I am a proud member of the autism community. While my specific experience is with Asperger's, I advocate advocate for everyone across the spectrum, regardless of the severity of their case. My mother had always taught me the importance of the person first concept. She insisted on saying person with autism rather than autistic person because it recognizes the human being before the diagnosis. As the saying goes, my mother is always right. Before you decide to judge or dismiss the autism community, take the time to educate yourself. That stands for everyone, regardless of race, disability, mental health condition, faith, or sexuality. Everyone deserves the basic human right to be respected, accepted, and understood. In the words of Reverend Jesse Jackson, never look down on anyone unless you're reaching out to lift them up. Once again, I am Justin Noel Elliott, and thank you for your time.
That was such a blessing. Thank you for sharing with us. And your mom for doing all the research that was needed and the support. Thank you. All right. So now we will move into our program. We'll talk about our program flows. So initially, I will conduct the panelist introductions. You will hear all about each panelist. Then they will be able to share with you all about their genres, and they will read excerpts of their choosing. And then lastly, you will be able to read, questions that you've written or things that you think of. And I also came with some questions if you would like to utilize some of those. So we are ready all the way around. Amen. So first up, we have the fabulous Dr. Gloria McEwen Burgess, all right? And she is a global leadership expert, firstly. She is a world-renowned speaker. She's an advisor on 6 continents. In addition to that, she specializes in leadership and legacy. And she is deeply rooted. Her work is shaped by her upbringing in rural Mississippi and her resilience of the civil rights era. In addition, her lived legacy. She is the founder of 3 organizations. She also has executive experience. She has high-tech experience, education experience, and philanthropic experience. Now, her core message: we are the legacy. What we build, who we lift, how we serve. That's what will endure. Again, we are the legacy. What we build, who we lift, how we serve. That's what will endure. Thank you. So next we have Kevin Norris. Kevin Norris is a pioneer educator, an early childhood pre-K educator, and the first male teacher at his school in Livonia, Georgia. Wow. He's a youth advocate. He's the founder of a summer program designed to help transition pre-K students to kindergarten. He's a prolific author. He's a native of Anderson, South Carolina. He's published nearly 40 books, multiple genres, including comics and educational workbooks. All right. He's a creative producer. Beyond the page, he is an independent movie writer and producer. Kevin Norris. Next, we have Minister Patricia Clinkscales. Next, I want to tell about her that she is a best-selling author. Amazon #1 best-selling Praying Women Win is the title of the book. And I believe she has that with her too. Community Refuge. For over 30 years, she's operated her home as a ministry headquarters and a safe haven for those seeking prayer and encouragement. All right. Holistic professional. She balances 35 years of entrepreneurship, also background in cosmetology, professional cleaning, and 12 years of service as a substitute teacher. She has a legacy of faith. She's dedicated to deliverance ministry. She helps women find peace and freedom through personal and spiritual relationships. All right, and again, Minister Patricia Clinkscales. Next, we have Tiffany Haywood Caldwell. She's a purpose-driven advocate, community leader, mentor, and counselor. She's dedicated to supporting individuals recovering recovering from trauma through faith and purposeful living. She's a scholarly achiever. She's a recipient of the National Society of Collegiate Scholars. She has a BS in Behavioral Health Science. She also has 20 years in the Department of Veterans Affairs, demonstrating a long-term commitment to service and community support. All right. And I want to tell you about her. She is a resilient strategist. She firmly believes in redirecting pain into purpose and replacing fear with strength through reflection, faith, and consistent strategy. Now, we also have Rain Sancho. Rain Sancho, you may have seen him as you were walking in. He will be based outside, and he has a video that you will see all about Rain Sancho. He's a literary prodigy, an exceptional learner, and an avid reader. He has read over 3,900 books. He's a youth creator. At 16, he co-authored and illustrated Barry Bear Takes a Walk, the first in his children's book series. All right? He's a technical artist. He's a graduate of the International Private School, Private Academy, and he graduated with honors. He's skilled in graphic design, also 3D modeling and computer programming. All right? He's service-driven. He serves as a tutor for LSN kids and leadership within the Clemson GCI Rotary Club. All right? So, we are ready to move into the section where our authors will share with us. So first up, we will hear from the fabulous Dr. Gloria McEwen Burgess, and she's going to be sharing excerpts and whatever she likes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to thank all the folks who have imagined this festival, and also Mary Beth. Thank you for calling my name. I want to dedicate this reading and talk to my mother. She will be 95 years old this year, and she's sitting right here. She gave me the blessing to share this, what used to be a family story, with the world. She said, Gloria, it just blesses one person. One person. So this is a story, it's called Pass It On, and it's a true story about my father and a famous author in my hometown, my father's hometown of Oxford, Mississippi. Now this is rural Oxford, Mississippi. This is the Oxford, Mississippi of red dirt roads and horse-drawn cars, right? When I go to elementary schools, I always show the picture of this horse-drawn buggy, right? And I ask them, where's the car? And they're confused. And then they go, oh, yeah, that's it, right? So when my father was a little boy, he had two dreams. He wanted to go to school, which meant he wanted to go to college. And more than anything, he wanted to live in a house with running water. So this is my father as a young boy. Ernie loved to read. He loved to read big books, little books, long books, and short books. His parents were too poor to buy books. That didn't stop Ernie. He borrowed them from his teachers, and when he found one in the trash, he would fish it out and read it. Now, Ernie's family lived in a small, segregated town called Oxford, Mississippi. And to provide for their 4 children, his parents had to work from sunup until sundown, most often in the cotton fields. They planted cotton seed in the early spring and picked the crop all through the fall. During picking season, Ernie's parents worked day after day after day, filling their long burlap bags with the fluffy white balls of cotton. When the bags were full, they dragged them to the edge of the field where the cotton was weighed and loaded into large wooden wagons. Then the seeds were removed and the cotton was pressed into big bales to be shipped down the Mississippi River. Now you can get the idea that this is the Jim Crow South, right? This was the era when I was a little girl, we still had to go in through the back doors of the shops on the square, right? But the white people in town, they would go through the front doors. And we would have to drink from the fountain that said colored, right? Now, this is the time I'm going to show you a picture of the house that he was born in, the same little house that I was born in. So now his family is coming home from town. And as usual, on the long ride home, Ernie's nose was buried in a book. He was reading one of his favorites, a book about buildings and how they were put together. Someday I'm going to build my very own house, he told his mother. You and Papa can come live with me. We'll even have running water. His mother just looked at him with tired, loving eyes and said, "Oh, Junior, you are such a dreamer. You'll see, Mama. Someday I'm going to go to college. You'll see." Now, God works in mysterious ways. Oxford, Mississippi is the home of Ole Miss. So as a young man, my father was working as a janitor at Ole Miss. It was still segregated, so we couldn't go to school there, but he could work there. And he's still talking about his two dreams. Students, professors, anybody who would listen. Well, one of those somebodies was a dean by the name of Dr. Leston Elmont. And when he heard my father's story and his dreams, he said, "Young man, Mr. McEwen." Now, how many of you know that you're not called Mr. anything back? He said, "I know someone who can help you." And he introduced my father to William Faulkner. Yes, William Faulkner. And when Faulkner heard my father's dream and he saw his leadership and his dignity, he wanted to help my father go to school. So Faulkner became my dad's benefactor. He paid for his tuition, his room and board, his books. He even found my dad and my mom a job so he wouldn't have to worry about pocket money. He said, "The only thing I ask of you, Mr. McEwen, is that you pass this blessing on to somebody else when you're able to." And that's how my dad heard this, passing it on. He didn't have much money, but he had a lot of words and a lot of encouragement. So he passed that blessing on.
Next, we will hear from Kevin Norris. He will share with us. Again, I asked Kevin to select one of the many books and share with us today. So, Kevin, if you would share.
I will say this, I will not be sharing because during this time, my girlfriend is back there, she's my publicist and editor. We had a hard time with our font, so it's very small, and this is the beginning. But I will tell you a lot about it. But this book is called One Day I'll Smile. And on it, it's a picture of me and my great-grandmother. And as a child, I was very emotional, and I got picked at it. But this book pretty much depicts what I went through as a child. I always wanted to fit in, and I found out when you want to fitting in is not the best thing for you. And this book tells about the things that I went through when I was in elementary school, trying to fit in with the so-called popular guys, and it went from elementary school to middle school when the thing in middle school was to drink and skip school. That was the thing that the older guys in high school was kind of like, I wouldn't say forcing us, but they were showing us that's the cool thing to do. And so as young people, you know, you want to fit in with the in crowd, and so you dibble and dabble with things that you should not do. But then as you get older, you found out the things that were cool are not so cool. So One Day I'll Smile just tells about how, and these are actual stories from my childhood to my adulthood, and how me and my friends, you know, I went from moving from different places as a young child. My mom was a single parent mom, so we did our moving like we were in the military. You know, we moved from this side to that side to this side to this side in Anderson. But I still had the same core of friends who were not so popular, but we were the ones who made the right decisions. I had two best friends. One, he passed not that long ago, but he went into the military. And my other friend, he went into the military, and I went off to college to become education. But I could talk for a while because I'm a pre-K teacher, but I'm not. But it is, I'm the author of 40 books, but if you want to, everybody turn around and look at her. I have about 10 books that I'm pushing her to publish. So I think I have, when it's done, I'm gonna have about 50 books. But my books are not long. You talked about autism. I didn't get diagnosed, but I knew something was wrong with me. But I knew I was special also. And special doesn't always mean that you have something wrong with you. That means you're picked because there's something inside of you that other people don't see. But this right here book, this is one of my many books, is what it depicts. It talks about one day I smiled, and as an adult, I finally became, was able to smile now. As a child, crying like that. So as you can see, I was crying.
And
That's
you don't sin because you're exceptional.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. All right. So next we have Minister Patricia Keese, and she is going to share with us.
Amen. I just thank God for everybody coming in and enjoying the weather outside. And thank you for coming in and listening to the panel today. Of course, my name is Patricia Keese, and I wrote this book, Keeping and Streaming. My mother abandoned us, me and my two siblings, as a child. I was raised by my grandmother and my step-grandfather. At the age of 4, my grandfather began to rape me. He raped me up till I was 11 years old. Again, I wrote this book, Stream It and Keep It. I called my publisher and I said, I can't put my business out there like that. She said, Patricia, you will help many people. So I said, okay, then go ahead and release it. And once I released this book, I'm very transparent in here. I didn't leave out anything. Women come up to me just crying, men crying, children. This book has touched a lot of lives. And that's why it became #1. So I thank God for this book. I thank God for what He's doing through this book. And I pray every day that somebody get a hold to this book and read it and get set free. Amen?
Amen. Next we have Tiffany Haywood Caldwell, and she's going to be sharing an excerpt.
First, I want to give honor to God for each of you for being here. The name of my book is The Butterfly Effect. As you can see, the butterflies are coming out of the jar that represents being free from bondage. What prompted me to write this book, I was exposed to trauma as a child. My mom's sister was murdered in front of myself, my mother, and my 2 brothers. And 7 years later, my mom committed suicide because she was not able to get over the fact that there was nothing she could do to save her sister. So I lived with that trauma for a very long time, and even when I became a parent, I wanted to express it more, but I decided not to convey that over to my children until they had a strong relationship with the Lord and would not carry it. So they had knowledge of it. Once I turned 40, maybe 42, I have a daughter that's 31 and one that's 24, and their relationship, their spiritual relationship is strong, so I can convey that without them carrying it. So I'm saying all that to say is that I turned my pain into purpose in hopes to bring someone to the light that may be in darkness. I also counsel women and children. No, I don't counsel men because I just feel like that's something that a man should do unless it's my spiritual choice. But if it is families, crazy, if you receive help. I feel like in order to show up your best you have to go ahead and deal with whatever it is, because nothing heals covered up. So, if you could just, that's my main thing, is whatever it is. I just experienced a younger cousin, 24 years old, committed suicide. We just attended his funeral last Saturday. He was in Greensboro, North Carolina. So he was just bogged down. And again, the social stigma of, hey, if you get help, especially as a youth or someone young. So stay focused on getting help and moving forward rather than being paralyzed and weighed down with pain. Because your story could be someone's survival plan. Thank you for your time.
So, Rain Sancho, as I mentioned, he provided a video and we'll be able to watch that to hear from him.
Hello everyone, my name is Rain Sancho, and I am the co-author and illustrator of Very Very Takes a Walk. I'd like to thank all of you for coming to this event, and I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'll be reading just a few pages of our book, but first, I'd like to tell you about how Berry Bear came to be. So, back in, I want to say, 2022, my mother had the bright idea to create a book for exceptional learners like me. For those who may not know, exceptional learners are typically people who process with neurodivergencies, like those with ADD, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and more. The gifted and talented can also be considered exceptional learners. For the purpose of the Bear Bear book, we also included ELLs, or English Language Learners. Now, with all that laid out, let's take a look inside. Berry Bear's book focuses on teaching learners about the specialty subjects of homophones and present tense verbs. It also comes in a few different mediums, such as our ebook and our audiobook. Now, you might notice the book's color scheme a bit muted. This was actually done by design. Some learners may find it challenging to read with bright colors everywhere. We also left a lot of space on the pages so that learners can decide to draw and doodle if they feel the need to. This is also why we decided to use matte finish paper instead of glossy paper, like the kind you would find inside of the textbook. The words on the pages are all placed in such a way so that learners can follow or trace movement as they read, similar to how one uses their fingers to read along the page. And lastly, to speak on the words, 82 out of the 85 words in the story itself are on the instant word list, which is derived from English's highest frequency words, meaning that learners, both children and adults, that can read these words will have a great start on handling the English language. With all of this explained, let's read a few pages of Berry Bear's story, shall we? Berry Bear takes a walk. Snow is falling, and the sun is shining. Berry Bear goes for a walk today. Berry Bear sees his friend, Chip. He stops to talk to Chip. Chip says, Berry Bear, I'm glad you too want to walk. Berry Bear gasps. Two? It is only me. I stopped to talk to you. See? Chip rubs his head. Two is who? Oh, you and me. Now, you might all be wondering what happens in the rest of the story, but I don't want to give it away because it's pretty short. You may have noticed the word to being used a lot. Well, that is to show the use of homophones, which are words that are spelled differently, but sound the same. Some examples of this are to, T-O, to, T-W-O, and to, T-O-O. Now, in the back of the book, there are some activities to help with learning these words, as well as some others. It is intended for parents and guardians and their children to read through the activities together. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about the book, I'm right outside the door. If you want a personalized, also be doing a short demonstration that could really use maybe, I want to say 3 volunteers. You can also ask me any questions you might have. I hope you enjoyed my presentation and this little preview. Have a great day.
So, again, as he said, he's outside eager to meet you after this event. So now we are ready to take questions and get some answers. I want to extend the opportunity out. The first question, who has a question? Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask, Dr. Julie, can you share some of the positive moments, since I grew up in this area also? Some of the positivity that came out of the integration period. We talk about it all the times when we had to go back to where we moved at. I got to participate. My dad was a NAACP president for Oakland County for many years. And he took us over first time we were able to go sit in Moore after that. But there's a positive experience. People were glad to see us actually a part. But can you share some of the positive experiences? We always hear the things that happen, but we never hear the positives that we got out of it as people.
Yeah, so there are many experiences. Thanks for the question. So I have to say that my father was relocated because he was ousted from his college when he was a senior at Alcorn, which meant that he could not enroll at another college or university within the state of Mississippi. So to complete his degree, he moved to Ohio, to attend Central State. And I preface that to say that my family moved with me eventually. And so our integration experience was in Michigan, not in the Deep South, primarily. I still had extended family up the Wazoo in Oxford. And I used to go there before it was desegregated and then afterwards as well. So the positives are just amazing. I have uncles, I have cousins who now work in the city of Oxford rather than for the city of Oxford. Okay? And what I mean by that is, a lot of these small southern towns were fueled by black labor, but they couldn't afford to live in town. They lived in the outskirts, sometimes 20 miles away, right, or more. But now they work on the street, in town, and so they're part of that. They have leadership positions in town. You're not just working behind the scenes or behind closed doors, right? The relationships that have come out of integration in my own family, my personal family, as well as my extended family. We have relationships that are with people from all over the world. Okay, so it's not just about black and white. It really is, to Justice's point, it's about respecting and honoring other people because they're human beings, and because they deserve dignity. And so we have that to be thankful for as well.
Thank you for your question. Additional questions? Yes, ma'am.
What did your dad major in?
So at Alcorn, he was, back in the day, they called it building and construction, architecture. He was a math major, math whiz. He was actually valedictorian when he was ousted from Alcorn. We didn't know that for a few years ago. I was sure because I was looking for some family papers. And so he knew what the deal was at Alcorn when he spoke out. But he loved math. He became an engineer before he company in Detroit. And he's like, Steph.
Additional questions? Hold on. Did you put your hand up?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, sir. I was making sure you did like that and then back down.
So let me ask you a question. What is the best way to reach young people who have trouble, a lot of things going on, they have mental, just a lot of mental things going on. They know they got it, but they resist it to people trying to help us? What's the best way to reach, is there a good way to reach our young folks?
I would say, spending time doing things with them that they like to do. Say, for instance, if it's a young adult male and he likes to play basketball, we maybe spend some time with him playing basketball and talk about, just start the conversation kind of gentle, just finding out, where he's at. I think meeting young people where they are and the things that they enjoy helps them to be more transparent. Not so much as what are you doing, where are you going, but really be gentle in that area so they feel like, I like this. I can kind of open up. I can talk without being chastised at the same time. And it's not that you steer away from discipline or order. However, it gives them that, makes them feel more comfortable about talking about it, without any prejudgment or immediate discipline about it, but sometimes it's trying to say, you hear this all the time, I'm sure. People say, hey, I went to such and such, and they didn't really agree. You know what I mean? So, to get in that area where, they feel comfortable and don't feel like, hey, I'm gonna get in trouble if I talk about it, then that, I feel like that's the best way to reach someone, as a young male or female. And sometimes it helps to talk to them about what you experience or what you've been through. I mean, that's absolutely the best way, because sometimes you look at people and you say, hey, they're so well put together, or even as a parent or uncle, they say, well, they really got it together. They've never been through anything. However, once you have that conversation, it's like, wow, they definitely don't look like what they've been through. And it could have been that you just didn't convey that, because again, like I said with my story, I didn't convey that with my children, because I didn't feel like they were ready, at a young age. However, once they got older, I did. But I think just getting in a place of familiarity and making them feel comfortable and non-judged, that will open the door for transparency.
Question here, and then we'll come to you.
First of all, I apologize for being late, but I am here. I'm putting this to any of you on the panel. Skeet, Mr. Holland touched on, the good things of our the good things came out of segregation and integration. But right now, they always tell us, you don't know your history, you're going to repeat the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right now, I feel, especially here in the South, with so many people coming in, what we are experiencing now is economic segregation. We're having people who can't afford to live in the towns they work because of the influx of people who are moving down here, or people who maybe work in Greenville or Spartanburg and come to our area, and the housing market is so exorbitant. And to me, this is having an effect not only on the people who work and are trying to keep their head above water, but it also has an effect mentally on the kids who we're bringing up. So what lessons do you think that we learned during segregation as how to integrate, that we can address some of these issues before they become a problem? Because that's a train wreck that's gonna happen. You're gonna have a whole generation of young kids, first of all, that don't know how to traverse this, and second of all, the parents are so involved in trying to keep food on the table and a roof on the head that they miss the mental cues, the mental health issue cues. So that's my question.
That's a difficult question. They'll take a multi-pronged approach to address that. Anybody think of any components of it? Maybe not the full thing, but something that stood out to you that you thought your expertise might lend itself to. I know she mentioned about mental health, that the fact that due to the parents, their focus being mostly on financial and just making sure that all the needs, the basic needs are met, that they won't really be as a response to their children saying, oh, I see that you're hurting in some way. Any suggestions regarding that?
I would say, I work with pre-K students. I'll think, because my girlfriend, she's a pre-K teacher also. I'm 50 years old, and I remember when Dad was at the or he said, I'm going to tell you Dad. Or sometimes if you're a single mom, I'm going to tell you Mom. If you told my mom, I was going to, you think I'm right now? I was really crying. But I think parents now, and I'm just saying this from my perspective. Parenting now is a lot different, and it could be the fact of working all the time, but also it comes with laziness as well. And as pre-K teachers, this is the reason why I took being a pre-K teacher, because everything starts with a foundation. And pre-K is the foundation of building things up. And we talk about it every day. We wish parents could do more. We wish, but I told you I'm a pre-K teacher, I talk a lot, but economically, they give us $2,000, $3,000, but that doesn't, it gives us money as a teacher, but it doesn't solve the problem, But that's pretty much all
And just to speak to that, the foundation that pre-K teachers and foundational elementary school teachers give students a lot of times are there, and they supplement what they might not be getting at home. So not only are they a teacher and instructor, but they're also a parental figure and providing them with bag lunches and different things to go back home with. And some of you may even written the notes that go in some of those packed lunches that go with them. And so it really takes a community to support what they're doing. Yes, sir.
And I'd like to piggyback off of that. Most of the time, we're always coming together, not sometimes together in the house of the Lord. So, seeing that is a place where it can be a mechanic, a counselor, or a variety of gifts within that body. If we spend a lot of time activating liberty, meaning I know when we go to the house of the Lord, it's like, okay, it's almost 11, we gotta go. One or two people may be able to talk according to the order. And no disrespect to anybody's house of the Lord, I'm just saying, I know that we come together there. However, there's so many gifts there that we're not aware of, that we're not using, and we're not coming together there. If we come together there and someone say, hey, I know how to plant a garden, well then we got food, right? Hey, I'm a counselor, well then we got mental health. Hey, I'm a nurse, well my mom lives at home and she can't afford a nurse. So there's so many gifts there, but we go there and say hi, it's almost like a performance anymore. Again, no disrespect, but I feel like that we're not utilizing what we have within the house of the Lord, and that right there would help everybody start at home and spread abroad, including the parents of the children.
And that's one of the lessons we did learn from desegregation.
Yeah.
A lot of what we were able to do did happen within the churches.
Yeah.
So, yes, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
A question to Mr. Kevin. You talked about how you and your two friends avoided succumbing to the pressures of high school students and you made good choices. What advice would you give young people, young men perhaps, but young people in general today about how to do that in their lives?
Well, one thing, like you said before, you have to let them know where you come from. Besides the teaching, I have it's called Kevin Cares LLC. I reach out to a lot of single even though our generation is like spread out, they may be 12, 13, and I'm 50. Things have changed, but it's still the same. You understand what I'm saying? Technology was not there when I was younger, so they have a heavily influence with technology and having to worry about who's talking about who's cyberbullying and all that stuff when we had to suck it up. Yeah. If someone teased you, you had to just go to school. I mean, it was, you know. But to really answer your question is, I guess really just talking to them. Like I said earlier, just talk. Once you talk and you get that, you said everything that I tell you, once you talk and give them that invitation, you know, to talk and all that, because we have to figure out how to bridge that gap. Because that gap has been broken so many times. I'm not going to talk to an older person because don't let them fuss. They're not going to listen, you know, and you rather listen than hear a situation like, oh, I've been raped like you was talking, you know, because I know if someone told back in the day that I was raped by someone, the first thing, oh, no, you can't do that. You gotta go somewhere with that. And that's why I wasn't able to really talk to my parents, you know, because I didn't feel like they understood or, you know, nothing like that. But, you know, just anything that I could relate to, I didn't feel like I could talk to my parents. My mom talk to me about, do you need condoms? I'm like, no, I don't need condoms. I'm not doing anything like that. But it is, I think, the talking and just listening in the relationship. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I want to make sure if there's one more question from the audience, I'll have, if they're quick, I can do the two though. I'll get you, sir, and then I'll get, yes, okay.
Terrence told me one time that stuck with me, is you have to know the past to change the future.
Yes.
What do y'all think about what's happening where people are trying to change the past?
I think there was a quote that was stated earlier, we're due to repeat it if we don't know our past. Would you guys agree, would you agree with that? Definitely.
I think knowing our past is the foundation. We talk about values as the foundation. Knowing our past is part of that foundation. And the butterfly effect, if you don't know, you tend to, you know, it tends to get somehow.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for Ms. Tiffany. What was your mom like? Like, what she, like, how old was she when she committed suicide?
She was 33 years old. And she was normally full of life. And we were always laughing, always, you know, the life of the party. But I think that she just could not get over that. She felt like it was something she should have done. When it was nothing that she could have done. It was just a horrible experience for her that she never got over. And again, that's why I'm so driven to help others, because it's dark places in people's lives. When you see people, it's much more than they're wearing in their clothes. You know, they are absolutely way down. And we're living in a time now where everybody is going through something mentally. I mean, it's just a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress with all ages. So, again, that's my purpose, is to try to, if I don't touch it one life, I'll get a good thing. And my counsel is driven by the wonderful counsel, who is the Lord Jesus.
Everyone can address it, or whomever is comfortable addressing it. And it says, what is the one question that you wish you'd be asked? That you never.
Mine is, was you afraid to write to me?
Yes.
You know, what you look at. My thing is, I had to pray, I had to seek God, I had to get healed and delivered from my situation, stuff that I had been through. So that's the number one.
why it resonates so deeply.
Right.
When you're on it. Thank you.
Mine is, what is the impact of my father's, life and legacy to me? And my answer is, his impact is huge, it's enormous. You know, we all know in this room the importance of education, and most of us have parents like, get your education, right, over and over and over again. And so that legacy just lives on in me and my siblings, my mom, my extended family. And it's not about money. You know, Faulkner happened to get money to support my family, but that's not it. I mean, he also gave my father a sense of, I see. I see. At a time when that was very rare. It was, essentially not done. I don't want to say the monolithic, white person in the South, but you know what I'm talking about, y'all, right? And what that gives me is just a deep regard for humanity and divinity. It has actually changed the story about Faulkner. Most people ask me about Faulkner, well, how could he have done that? He was losing, da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me tell you something. Okay, that man may have been all of those things. I don't know. But I got to meet Mr. Faulkner when I was a kid. And I didn't have that real memory for myself. It was a total memory, but a real memory of my own until I was at a writer's conference, right? Digging into the well to unearth the past so that I could write about the present, right? And that did more for me, really realizing who this man was, okay, at his core. When I got to meet his great-grand-niece in Oxford a few years ago, and I told her about what I'm telling you, she had tears in her eyes. She said, that's the man that I knew, too.
And she never knew that.
And she didn't know about my story. No, she didn't know about my story. But here's the thing. If we don't dig beyond the surface, what people look like, right? Okay, we carry the same stuff. We carry that story with us, right? The story that we've heard, instead of digging deeper.
Amen.
So now I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to our panel. So appreciative of you coming and sharing authentically, sharing transparently with our audience. It has been a transformational experience for me, and I'm sure everyone in this room. I want to thank you for that. I want you to make sure to stay connected. I have a QR code up here for you to follow the Pendleton Foundation for Black History and Culture. Terrence is like, that's right. I love when he hits that smile. It's like, that's what I do. On Facebook and also on the website to stay updated on our events so we can all come together as a community. And as I've been saying, so we can build together. So we can build community together, so we can build the Keese Farm back together, so that we can do the renovations for this community center together. We want to build this. So, I really want to conclude this. We're not done. The festival is still going on. Actually, the famous Terrence Hassan is going to be heading a tour of the 100s here shortly. And he's going to be taking off from there, and there will also be a step team performance prior to that. So I would love for you to join us